Hi, my name is Alex and I'm with Cruises Computers. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about the problem with Lenovo. Now, for the time being, this is going to be the last episode in the Problem with Blank series. With this series, I wanted to talk about my personal experience, and as a Dell and Lenovo repair technician, this is something that I feel confident talking about because I see it every day. And I kind of just want to talk about my experience and kind of warn others, where to shy away from if, they're a little bit curious and whatnot, and kind of get the inside scoop that, you probably won't get many other places. So to start off with a quick Google search, I noticed that Lenovo had a higher market share than Dell, and apparently they've been selling more computers since 2013. Now I mainly cover, northern Indiana and southern Michigan. So I don't know if in my area, we just sell more Dells, but I'd confidently say 7 to 8 out of 10 of my calls are Dell calls. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with Lenovo, but this is, in all honesty, probably going to be more talking crap on Dell than it is Lenovo because those are what I have to compare. So, whenever I do have a Lenovo call, they typically ship newer motherboards, newer hardware. Repairs usually go a lot smoother, and when I call them, I call the same Premier support line that you would have called. Now, I feel like they are kind of trained to kind of get off the phone a little quicker. They definitely don't rush it in my experience, but my max amount of time on the phone with Lenovo is 15 minutes, whereas just earlier this week, I had 2-hour-long conversations with Dell where I'm literally fighting with them to try to get parts sent. In one case, they even lied to me and said that they were sending the part, and they didn't send it. Who knew? You'd have to fight for a liquid cooler on an Alienware when the first initial problem was a liquid cooler failure. Who would have thought? But when I am just so relieved when I have to call Lenovo, now I just don't have to call Lenovo as much. Most of my calls, like I said, are Dell, and most of the DOAs that I have are Dell. I don't know what it is with Lenovo, but the DOA percentage rate for them, in my experience, is extremely low. When they send parts, they send good parts. Now, I do have one client in particular who works at a college who has had a terrible experience with Lenovo, which kind of, throws me off a little bit because every experience I've had with Lenovo and the majority of my clients have a great experience with Lenovo. But this one in particular, I guess, had a bad rep, and he'd have to fight with them. Now, they actually switched to Dell, which I warned him about, but, he wasn't really the one spending all that money anyway. It was kind of his superiors, so it wasn't really up to him. But I did warn them that they're probably going to have more problems with the Dells than they are Lenovo. With that being said, yes, the majority of the times I call Lenovo, it is an absolute pleasure because I connect with them. They have the call center is based in North Carolina. It feels like to me, they genuinely want to help you, which means so much to me. Because one thing I always tell my clients, I don't necessarily care about Dell or Lenovo's profits. I care about helping customers. If you have a problem, big or small, I'm going to fight for you. And quite literally, I have to fight Dell almost every day at my job. With Lenovo, they just care so much. And I'd love to hear if you have any personal experience with that in the comments, but majority of my clients have a good time with Lenovo. Now, the main problem that they have is their motherboards, and more specifically, their Type-C ports. Those are the majority of my Lenovo calls, which, honestly, and I'm not shelling out for Lenovo here. One of the things about me is I'm brutally honest. I'm going to tell you how it is. I don't sugarcoat these brands. But, yeah, one of their main problems is their Type-C ports and the motherboards. If I'm on a call with Lenovo, I'd say over 50% of the time it is for a motherboard, which is either just a DOA motherboard or a bad Type-C port, which is just concerning because in my mind, obviously I do not know the actual figures on this, but in my mind, a better Type-C port is probably like a 50-cent manufacturing difference, which is a little worrisome. I have my own problems with that, and it's kind of like an inside joke with a lot of my frequent flyers. Like, what am I here for? Oh, bad Type-C port, of course. So it's just something that I see way too common, and it is disheartening. But one of the things that I kind of reassure my clients with is that I will be there the next day to fix it if there is a problem. You will get on the phone with Lenovo, or I will get on the phone with Lenovo. We will get a part overnighted. within 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes at the max if they need pictures for proof or whatnot. But typically with like the motherboard stuff, it's not really visual unless like something short circuited very obviously. So that is probably one of my main concerns with them. But I can't reiterate this enough. It is such a pleasure calling them, especially compared to Dell. I mean, they just genuinely want to get stuff done. But that doesn't deter away from the fact that they need to spend a little bit more money on their motherboards. I think with the PC market in general, especially the pre-builts, everyone kind of took the lowest bidder. Now, I only have experience in the last 2 years with Dell and Lenovo specifically, but from what I hear from the clients that have kind of been around this area for a long while, they've been in the IT space for many, many years and they have experience with different brands and whatnot. They have also noticed that a lot of the quality has kind of gone down. Now, I feel like when we build a computer ourselves, custom, I feel like they don't want the RMAs, they don't want the returns, so I feel like they're built a little bit better. But I've had a lot of people tell me that have been in the space for a while, and I've seen it myself, where you can just kind of tell they took the cheapest bidder for some of the stuff, and it's just so concerning. Now, I definitely blame Dell more for that than Lenovo, but with something as simple as a Type-C port, it is kind of concerning. But I have hope that they're going to improve on that, and I'll be the first to tell you if they don't. I mean, I see these things every day. The one thing I am genuinely kind of scared of is the laptop that they showed at CES with the expanding screen. As a technician, I don't even want to see that on the field. But as for Lenovo, I could not be genuinely more happier. With someone who cares about their job as much as I do and just taking care of people, and what a great feeling that is. It feels so good to have Lenovo on your side. So I definitely wish that they would take care of this issue. But if you have warranty support with the on-site service, I don't know if they charge more for that or not, you will be happy. Typically, I hear better stuff about their depot service compared to Dell. Dell, I said in the problem with Dell video, they're notoriously bad at their depot service, whether it just takes months or not, or just the fact that they make you think you have to send it into a depot. One of the fights I just had this week was where they were trying to make it seem like the customer had to send in his Alienware desktop to depot. And I just don't see how that's feasible at all, because they pay for the shipping on something that weighs like 40 pounds there and back, when they could just send me the radiator that we need. With that particular call, it was just a CPU pump failure. And what do you send when there's a CPU pump failure? Apparently to Dell, a motherboard. And when the motherboard didn't work, I asked them for a CPU pump / radiator. They sent another motherboard and a CPU. And they lied to us about sending the radiator. Very disheartening. And that third time, or the second time for me that we called, the third time for the customer, we had to fight with them for an hour to send the one part that he requested at the very beginning. Because obviously you get a CPU pump failure. The cheapest route is a CPU pump. Why would they even send the motherboard? I guess, maybe they have the insider data that shows, okay, well, maybe the motherboard will fix it because there's a bad port on the motherboard or something like that. But especially with Dell, you'd imagine they take the cheapest route. And the motherboard twice and a processor is not the cheapest route. And they just lied to us. So I just look forward to calling Lenovo. And if you have any experience with that, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I know it's very hit or miss. I could be speaking right now and you could be thinking to yourself, what the hell is this dude talking about? I've never had a great experience with Lenovo. And I would like to hear about that, because that's just my experience, and I'd like to hear other viewpoints and other thoughts as well. If you haven't had the greatest experience, like I said, that one dude that works at that college, he would complain to me daily. Now, I think they actually just started implementing the Dells, but for the few service calls he still has for the Lenovos, I think it's been a little bit smoother because he has not been complaining about it. I think he finally did get any representative, which is just bad that you can have a customer that spends, let's say, a couple $100,000 on laptops, have a bad experience that makes them want to switch, and those representatives should be taken care of, because everyone else that I've called takes care of people. And you just don't want to be losing clients like that. Return customers are the best customers. So I hope everyone else, if you're watching this, has had a great experience with Lenovo. And thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.